Hey guys, welcome to EV Hustle. And today on this episode, we will be talking about some of the innovation that was revealed on how to make the car more efficient and such from Battery Day. So let's go get it.
We've been wanting to do Tesla for a long time, and we finally figured it out. And I think it's the way that all electric cars in the future will ultimately be made. Uh, it's the right way to do things. Um, it starts with having a single piece casting, or a single piece casting for the front body and the rear body. And in order to do this, we commissioned the largest casting machine that has ever been made, and it's currently working just over the road at our Fremont plant. Uh, we have the it's pretty sweet. Um, making the currently making the entire rear section of the car as a single piece, high pressure die cast aluminum. And in order to do this, we actually had to develop our own alloy because we wanted a high strength casting alloy that did not require coatings or heat treatment. This is a big deal for castings, especially with a large casting. If you heat treat it afterwards, it tends to deform. It kind of like does this like potato chip thing. So it's very hard to keep a large casting to have its shape. So in order to achieve this, there was no alloy that existed that could do this. So we developed our own alloy, a special alloy of aluminum that has high strength without heat treat and is very castable.
Wow, that was crazy. I had to rewatch it so many times because there's so much information in that short amount of clip. So let's slow it down and let's break down all the new techniques. Okay, let's talk about cell vehicle integrations. Now, before we jump into it, let's talk a little bit about the background story. When Tesla started building their own vehicles, Sandy Munro, right here, this man right here, who pretty much has so much experience in designing, building, and processing all the components of vehicles, and he advised a lot of big corporations how to improve the process. So when he took apart one of Tesla vehicle, he was saying that even though the vehicle had like amazing electronic components, but the way that they were building the vehicles, it was very inefficient. A lot of pieces, a lot of welding, a lot of unnecessary parts, right? So that's just a little bit of a background story behind it. So let's jump into the battery presentation. So I was pretty psyched to actually hear this. I was following Tesla for a while, and just reading up in the news, you hear about the patents that they were coming up with, and so when they started talking about single casting, I was like, oh my goodness, they finally did it, right? And what single casting is, from the video clip that you saw earlier. So it's just imagine like the trunk itself, with all the different pieces and not. So now it's just one piece. It's kind of like a mold, and it creates one piece. It's a lot faster, and you can see from this slide right here, it's 79 parts less. And just imagine, with 79 parts, someone or some machine would need to either bolt or weld that into the trunk itself, right? And by doing that, also reducing the parts, it's also reducing the cost, right, to create it. So Tesla created a single casting for the trunk and also for the front, right? And I mean, that's amazing. But you would think, so why aren't these other manufacturing doing the same thing, right? I mean, like, it kind of makes sense when you think about it, to kind of create everything with one or two pieces and just combine them. So this is where it gets really tricky, and that's why Tesla, they actually had to come up with a new type of alloy, right? Which is pretty cool. So Tesla, when they need something or need to invent something, they will pretty much bring the engineer to come up and invent, or work on something or research. And this is totally psyched out, and I was so psyched to hear that they were able to achieve this. So here it is, right, where they don't need any heat treating or coating on it, because it's kind of tricky when you when you have this one single casting on such a big piece. So that's why they needed to create their own material, and at the end it works perfectly, right? So now let's talk a little bit about the how the cell, the fuel cell are structured into the body. And what Tesla did is kind of borrow the idea that we see here, right? So earlier, where the aircraft wings were created and the tanks, you can see here, right? So the red right here is the fuel tanks, and this right here is the wings. And what they did is they would pretty much nail or bolt the tank down, and this becomes this wasted space. So later on in modern aircraft wings, they decided to change it up, rather than having this fuel tank. Why not just design design the wing itself so that it becomes a tank itself? You save space, you save material, you save so much weight. So Tesla adopted this. And now let's look at the battery, right? This is pretty cool. I mean, when you look at it, it seems so simple, right? But I think it's great ideas makes it sound simple. That's what I think. When you hear great ideas, it sounds simple, but it's not really that simple. So see all these red kind of highlight right here. So these are pretty much unnecessary, or these are the metal or the pieces that serve purpose to kind of keep everything in place, right? So this new battery, you see the cell itself are bigger, and I think the steel shell itself are going to be a part of the body structure, and actually it's going to be a lot stronger. So not only the new body structure is stronger, but you're also reducing the weight itself and reducing the parts. So essentially, they're reducing 10% mass reduction, and by doing so, they're increasing 14% range just for doing that, and 370 fewer parts. Now that's quite a saving, right? 370 parts. That's quite a saving in time itself. Now here's the final piece, right? It's pretty much three pieces. So this is the front, right? This is where the battery itself will be, and this is the back. Single casting, and it becomes almost like Lego pieces, where you just connect these together. Wow, that's so cool, right? And I just thought that's amazing, and I feel that when I was listening to the battery day, this is one of the things that really caught my eye. And what this would do is that it will help Tesla to save so much money, and at the same time be able to increase their volume, right? Which is so important, and because they're expecting a higher demand, and with new Giga factory coming up in Berlin, in Austin, and also right now in China. With all this applying, they will be able to produce so much amount of cars. If you're trying to reach in the millions, if you don't have this kind of technology in itself, then you're wasting so much money and manpower trying to achieve such. Well, this is what I think, though, personally. I might be wrong, but it just seems so simple enough that you can see it, right? Fewer parts, less mass, potential stuff to increase, and quicker time to produce the vehicle itself. Awesome. So, what does it mean with all these new innovation? I think for the next year to 2 years, maybe even 6-7 months, we're gonna see a huge ramp up. Now, Tesla's goal is to produce cars in the millions, and so I'm excited to see what's going to happen, because Giga Austin is coming up next year, and also Berlin. So they're going to have so much manufacturing power, and also because of these, new potential and growth from their innovations, I think it's going to be very difficult for other car manufacturers to catch up to them. And I think the Tesla shorts are going to have a rough year next year. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening in, and I hope you have a good one. Peace and take care.